Hey, Tony Shark here. Back on the whatever this is. I don't know if this is Air, if this is Facebook, if this is the website, wherever you're watching this from on YouTube. We're doing Chicago Rocker TV yet again. And I've got a new guest here who's not so new on the scene, new to the TV show here. But this is Tony Ocean, a.k.a. Mo Carrara, a.k.a. a witness in the Federal Protection Agency that we don't need to talk about.
Yes.
And how you doing, Mo?
Good, Tone. Thanks for having me on, man. It's a pleasure. I've always wanted to be on the Chicago Rocker show, so it's kind of cool.
The reason we're getting together today is because Tony Ocean is celebrating a 25th anniversary coming up here next month at the St. Charles place. Where are you doing this at?
Well, it's going to be at the brand new hotspot in St. Charles called the Club Arcada Speakeasy in downtown St. Charles, which is run by Ron Onesti, who also owns the Arcada Theater in St. Charles. So it's right above it.
Oh, so you're not actually in the theater?
We're upstairs in the special speakeasy. You got to knock on the door to get in, the password. Really kind of cool the way you put this whole thing together. It makes you feel like you're back in the old Prohibition days, you know what I mean? Really cool.
And it's just a little bar? Is that what it is?
It's a restaurant bar.
Oh, really?
Nice. Oh, yeah, beautiful. It's like almost like the Drake in the old pump room, the way it's set up.
Wow.
So it's really classy up for
And this is a 25th anniversary party?
25th anniversary for my show, for being Tony Ocean, as long as we're doing it there at the Speakeasy, yes.
And what's a Tony Ocean?
He's a singer. I'm a singer. I'm a lounge singer that's been doing this, just singing the great songs of the oldies and the crooners and keeping up that music alive, which we need to do.
And you sing at a bunch of different restaurants across the Midwest and actually farther too, right?
This is, like I said, 25 years I've been doing it full time, and we play any restaurant, any casino, any clubs that we can.
So you're doing Metallica and Pearl Jam and that kind of stuff?
No, we left out that stuff. But we're sticking with the Sinatra Rat Pack stuff, but now we're getting more into the Motown 50s, 60s, 70s. We do some 80s with the Tony Ocean show, with the Retro Rockets band that we have.
And there's different configurations to the band, right? There's sometimes you and somebody else, or sometimes just you, or sometimes 10 people.
Well, it depends
stage,
what
right?
the budget of the club is. Me with the Retro Rockets band, which is a 5-piece, which we mostly do all the casinos and festivals with. And then there's some of the club where I'd either have my piano player, Jamie Passman, or I would have my horn player and backup singer Anthony Casano with me. So it depends on where we're at. So that's how it usually works.
So sometimes you're in just a small area in a restaurant, and sometimes you're on a big stage and this kind of stuff.
Whatever the venue is, whatever.
So what do you call it when it's the band?
The Retro Rockets band.
Okay, and what's it called when it's just you?
The Tony Ocean show.
Okay, and so through the night, what would you sing?
Well, usually when we start our shows, it's like around 8 o'clock, 8:30. Some are 7:30. People are eating, so you don't want to blast them too much with any of that real loud stuff. So we try to sit mostly with the Sinatra Rat Pack era of music so they can enjoy their dinner. And then the club wants you, after the dinner's over, to start kicking into disco and the Motown and the 70s and keep people dancing. That's what we're there for, to make sure that they're dancing and keep drinking and keep... That's how the clubs make their
So your
money.
claim to fame sort of was... with the Tony Ocean thing was as doing the Rat Pack, right? You were doing Dean Martin, or were
right.
you?
Well,
were you...
I got together with Nick Fortuna is the bass player, one of the original bass players in the band called the Buckinghams, and Frank Fortuna was his brother, and they were putting together a Rat Pack show at the Jazz Buffet Theater, small little dinner theater in the city of Chicago.
So this is like the birth of Tony Ocean.
This was the birth of me doing the Dean Martin part.
Okay.
Yeah. And the birth of Tony Ocean came, I always wanted to do this music because I always thought it was cool, the Sinatra stuff. But none of the guys in my rock bands at the time didn't want to do this kind of music. It was old people's music. It was not cool at the time, But I always wanted to do it. And when I got a chance to do it on my own, I took advantage of it. And that's how I became to making a living of it, because I couldn't do it when I was doing before.
prior to this, you were more of a rocker, though, weren't you?
Yeah.
I mean, I remember. Let's see, what bands you were in. Yeah, I remember you being in Broken Heart
Yeah.
back in the
85?
Thirsty Whale days, right? And that
sure.
kind of
And
stuff.
Before
And-
that, Tyranny at Charades when I first started. That was my very first band. Actually, I was underage, and when I was on break, I had to go to the car. I couldn't sit in the bar.
well, you were doing that with Jim Irwin from TNT.
TNT, right?
TNT
yeah,
Chicago.
Right. Yeah, right, yeah.
Yeah, I remember
And
those
they were
days.
a lot older than me. Then we got Broken Heart, and that was great.
I don't think Irwin's going to want to hear that he was much older than you.
Oh, well, it could have been a mistake.
You know, you never know.
Never know.
Of course, that was the kind of place where you walked in and said, "I is 21," and you got in, isn't it?
Right, yeah, that was I remember the Charades in Stone Park over there.
And then you were also in 1313 and Dream Police.
And Big Bang Rodeo, which we did the Star Search show.
You were on Star Search.
Yeah, with the Big Bang Rodeo.
And how did that go?
Good. We lost by a quarter of a point, but with me and the brainchild of that band was Anthony Melchiotti, of course, a.k.a. Tony Vincent. So that was actually very cool. And, lost by a quarter of a point
So where did you go to tape that?
in Orlando, Florida. We were doing South by Southwest, and Gene Simmons of KISS seen our promo and liked the band, and that's how we got on the show.
Wow. So and then you started doing Dream Police, some kind of Cheap Trick thing?
Yeah, I always loved Cheap Trick, so I got the guys together with the band, and me and Tommy Burke were the birth of that group. And Tommy Burke was in Jet Boy, which was on the very first Chicago Loop album with that band. So we went to high school together, so we were friends from Elmwood Park, you know. And then we bought the Dream Police. We did that for a while, and then we had another. After the original Dream Police broke up, I got together with the DeMarco brothers, Paul DeMarco and Pat DeMarco, which are brothers to Joey DeMarco of United Talent, and we did a couple more years with that band.
What's this guy's name?
Joey DeMarco from
I
United
haven't
Talent.
heard of him.
Oh, Jesus.
Hmm.
Yeah, so that went for a while too, and we had a lot of fun with that. So it was fun.
I know Paul well, and I know Johnny. Johnny was in the
Yeah, Johnny
Douglas James
Yeah,
and
sure, yeah.
other guys.
Did a bunch of commercials for Johnny too. He sold some for car dealerships.
Yeah, they were all in Risk at some point.
Yeah, great band.
And you also did like a Rod Stewart thing too, right?
For a while, I had I had Phil Miller and all the guys from some of the Dancing Noodle guys, and we were called Gasoline Alley, and we did that. But
Right, now I remember.
Couldn't keep everybody together at the time.
So you're this rocker dude that's playing in 5 different bands and running around all over the place, and then you decide that you're going to start singing Dean Martin and Frank Sinatra and all that kind of stuff. And
Well, put it this way: when I did my first gig, I think I got like $600-700. That was just my throwing it out for a little anniversary party as Tony Ocean. I'm going, maybe there's something behind this.
well, you know, when you were in Broken Heart, you're talking about albums. You were on the Class of '85 album with one of my records, right?
Yeah. We also did that show at the Odeum.
So
which
you
was a
got
great
like
show.
$600-700,
For Tony Ocean.
and I was paying you $50 at the Whale.
50.
I always paid people really well.
There you go.
Oh well. Anyhow,
Yeah.
so I guess the money's there, and it makes it sort of a way to do it professionally.
Yeah. I mean, there's tons of restaurants, Italian restaurants and restaurants around where they want entertainment, where you can't have a band there. So they bring in a guy like me with a piano player, and I've been, luckily, God bless, still doing it for a living these years later.
Well, yeah, dinner and a show, and
Yeah.
people get to hear what they want, and it goes
Well, hopefully what they want. Yeah.
right.
Right.
So, 25 years. Where have you played at the different places? Just throw out some names of some of the clubs you've played.
Well, we did for almost 13 years at Jilly's downtown on Rush Street, which was the big.
Really?
That was the biggest.
So, like once a month or something, or
I was there Sunday, Mondays, and Tuesdays. Every Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday.
3 days a week.
3 days a week there.
Wow.
On the slowest nights on a normal nightclub or a restaurant, Sunday, Mondays, and Tuesdays are dead. But downtown on Rush Street, where all the conventions coming into town and everybody coming to town, that's where they finish eating. All the conventions need a place to go.
Right.
They'd eat at Gibson's across the street. Then they would come to Jilly's and drink. And Jilly's was Frank Sinatra's bar. So it was a place that you wanted to go and hang.
And so, how long did you play each night? What'd you do?
Oh, we used to go from 9 to 1:30.
9 to 1:30.
Yeah, yeah.
So you played all night every Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday.
Yeah, that was just at Jilly's.
So is that where you sort of got into this thing where you were doing 5 nights a week, or, you know?
Well, it started a little bit before that, because some of the clubs you'd play, you'd have to work Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. That was the contract. So some of those places, like Dover Straits and Hoffman Estates, not there no more, but you had to play Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. They give you a certain fee.
So you'd be playing from Sunday almost to Sunday for a while.
Sometimes I'd have Wednesday off. Yeah.
Well,
And
how
that
in the
was-
world are you singing 3 hours a night, 7 days a week? I don't think you can do that.
I don't know either, but my doctor keeps telling me that because I sing as much as I do, my voice is oiled up. So it's to the point where it's so used to it. I don't get sick too often. I get raspier sometimes, but I don't get sick. I might have had to cancel maybe 10 shows, maybe 8 shows in my whole career where I couldn't sing. I would even show up to the show and try to sing, and they would tell me to go home, but
So we talk about Julie's. How about any other clubs along the way, or
there were
places
some great
along-
ones. Giannotti's back then was great. I've been fortunate to do a lot of the great festivals and casinos in town. But Giannotti's, Moretti's right now is a good one. Zeal in Schaumburg's a good one. But I've played House of Blues. I've done almost any place there is they're serving Italian food at. I've been there. I put it that way.
I guess if people are going to eat pasta, they're gonna listen to you at the same time.
At
huh?
the same time, whether they like it or not. Yeah.
So out of these 25 years of performing, what were some of the bigger highlights of things you've done?
When I went to New York and played up there for the first time, that was really cool. Different about New York and Chicago is that a lot of the clubs out there, they certain restaurants that you're at, they'll tell you if the people are talking while you're singing, they'll tell you to shh, listen to the guy sing. There's no TVs, there's no nothing like here. So it's a lot more respectable out there in New York. So when I played out there for the first time, that was a pretty big deal. And then, of course, when I opened at the Riviera in 2000 in Las Vegas, that was really big for me.
And
So
who'd
that
you
was
open
really
for?
cool. Pardon me?
Who'd you open for?
Well, at that time, I just did the lounge myself
Oh, okay.
when I was out there. So I opened the lounge myself.
And how long did you do that?
Oh,
for?
that show ran, we did 6 weeks there the first time. So it was actually pretty cool. Then we went back and we did the Big Apple, which is the New York. We did that for a couple 6 weeks too. So that was a lot of fun.
So people that are seeing you in these smaller Italian restaurants, they don't really realize the scope of everything that you've done over the years. I mean, I know, like, you did the Rat Pack as a long form kind of
Dinner
show.
Yeah.
It was in a Piper's Alley down by Second City. Or?
Yeah, that show ran for about 4 or 5 years and produced by Ron Onesti. And that show ran. That was 5 nights a week.
So Ron Onesti seems to be a reoccurring thing in your life here. It's like
he's been
from the
involved.
beginning to the end to even now.
To even
now that
now.
you're doing
Yeah.
the shows now.
Ronnie gave me many chances when I first started as the Dean Martin, and he took over that show and worked his magic. And that's how he got involved in that show. He became executive producer of that show. And it was a dinner show. But at that time, there was
Well,
no...
I heard some kind of story about that they were putting the show together, and then right before they were going to open the show, they couldn't get a liquor license or something like that, and Ron came in and sort of saved the day.
Ron worked his magic, and next thing you know, bam, we're opening night. And we're
well,
ready to roll.
He can
And
definitely.
he took control of that show and made it successful that it was. And after the Piper's Alleys closed, we actually went around and toured with it. So we had a lot of success with that and a lot of fun.
Who else was in that show with you?
Jack D'Amico, Ron Hawking was one of the Frank Sinatra guys.
I remember Ron. Yeah.
Ron was one of the original guys.
Okay.
Jack D'Amico was there. Lonnie Parler played Sammy Davis Jr. He passed away. Frank Paisani. Bill Acosta was another singer who left and went to Las Vegas too. He passed away too. Mark Fensky played Jerry Lewis. Frank Paisani did all the other characters. So it was a real kind of great dinner show idea.
Well, to this day, you still perform with Jack sometimes, right?
Yes, we still do the Rat Pack out there. A couple times a year you can still see us out there.
And you go do things like country clubs and
Country clubs, festivals, whatever it is. Casinos, we've done that.
And what year did you start doing the Rat Pack in
The Piper's Alley one? I think it had to be maybe 95, 96.
And how long did it last?
About 4 years.
And that was sort of like a Tony and Tina's wedding kind of
It
thing.
was right next door to Tony and Tina's wedding.
Right,
yeah.
now I remember.
It was a dinner show, yeah. So,
And so that was how many nights a week?
5.
And how
We
many
did
shows?
Wednesday-
Was
we-
it one show a day?
We do Sunday, Monday, too, yeah. So we'd go Wednesday through Sunday. Sunday would be like a senior show.
So 25 years, how many shows do you think you've done over 25 years? I mean, you're talking
have-
about doing sometimes 6 shows a week, sometimes more when you do double shows in a day.
Well, like, good thing is when you can do a wedding, sometimes they only bring you in for the cocktail hour. So I can go and do the cocktail hour from 6 to 7 and go to my regular nightclub that starts at 9 o'clock. So those are 2 shows, especially in the summer. That happens all the time. Around December, Christmas parties comes all the time. So that happens all the time, which is cool.
So how many shows do you think you've done over 25 years?
I don't know. I have no idea. I mean,
We'll do the math. I think if you think about it, you've got to be close to like 2,800, 3,000 shows.
if you're thinking about it, yeah, you're probably right.
3,000 shows.
Yeah, and I'm booked right now up until almost September right now of this year.
Wow. A lot of work there in these
A
little
lot of
places,
Italian
huh?
restaurants, thank God.
People don't think of the working musician that's not doing the dirty Nellies and the tailgaters and the big clubs like that. You're
Well,
sitting there doing the smaller clubs, and you're making more of a living than some of these other guys that are out there doing a lot of stuff.
And I've been fortunate to do Dirty Nellies as Tony Ocean. We did a dinner show there, which was cool. And we did once a year, we do one at Tailgaters on a Thursday night. We do a nice Tony Ocean dinner show. And it was actually pretty cool for some of the older people who might want to like that type of music, you know.
So now you're doing Dream Police too, right?
Well, we're doing the Dream Police again because Cheap Trick finally got inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. And I thought it was time to call the guys up, and we all decided to get back together. And now we try to do 1 or 2 shows a month with that. We've already opened for Danny Serafin from Chicago at the Arcada Theater. We've opened for Greg Kinn at the Arcada Theater. We've opened Seventh Heaven, which is great, up at Joe's in Rosemont. So we got Loverboy, I think, coming up in July. So it's a lot of fun getting that back because I was still listening to that music. They're still one of my favorite bands, Cheap Trick. People ask me, what's your favorite rock band? It's either Cheap Trick or the Raspberries.
And what about this Gasoline Alley thing? I've heard rumors that you're thinking about doing something with that again.
Well, it's never. I never say no, but try to find the time and the right guys to put everything together.
Well, find time. How do you book things when you're booked 5 nights a week?
No, I know it's a little difficult. That's what I'm having some trouble with the Dream Police now, but I'm trying to get as much as I can.
Well, you do that about twice a month, right?
Yeah, sometimes, yeah.
Well, what are the current projects you're doing? So you're doing Dream Police. What else you got going?
Well, we're trying to put out another CD. I've got 7 of them. My
7 CDs?
7 CDs, yeah.
Playing in Italian restaurants, and you've got 7 CDs.
Yeah, one is a live one that we did live for the Jerry Lewis Telethon, and we did that at the Park West. That was our own night, which we sold out with the Jillies organization. We made over $50,000 for Jerry's kids.
Wow.
That's how I got to open for Jerry Lewis at the MGM in Las Vegas. That's how that all came about. And then I got to open for some other guys back then, too. We did Don Rickles about 4 times, and unfortunately, he just passed away. Opened for Tony Bennett at Woodfield when he had his Here's to the Ladies CD right in the mall. I
Really?
got to open for him, which was very cool. So it's interesting. Did a lot of stuff with Dean Martin's daughter. We opened for Nancy Sinatra. I
I read something on your website where she endorses you as the quintessential.
She says I have the best Dean Martin voice.
Huh.
So which is great. And when I got to do a couple shows with her, I had to sing Dean Martin, but not as Dean Martin. So I just did my own voice when we did her book tour. When she did her book tour with her father, about her father. So that was kind of cool.
That's one of the things about when you're singing stuff. You do tend to sing in your voice, and you're not mimicking something. And that could be one of the reasons that the voice is holding out, because you're singing as you. You're not really doing, the mimic.
And people say, how do I go from the Rod Stewart stuff that I do to the Frank? Well, the rock stuff was my real voice, and I just picked, so that's how come that's all still there.
So this 25th anniversary show is when?
It's going to be Saturday, May 20th, The doors open at 6:30. It's dinner and stuff. Then the show starts at 8:30 till about midnight. It's at the Club Arcada Speakeasy in downtown St. Charles, right above the Arcada Theater. It's brought to you by Ron Onesti Entertainment. It's a great show and dinner, and come and see it. And it's a speakeasy. You get there, you have the secret password to knock on the door before they let you in, and you walk in. It feels like you're going back in time to Al Capone and with the Flapper Girls, and it's really cool.
So where else can you be seen?
Well, you can
coming
check
up
my
here?
website at TonyOceanMusic.com.
And what's on the website?
Well, they'll give you all the performing dates I'm at. You can see the bio, some videos and stuff on there. Cool.
What's some of the places you're playing at now?
Coming up?
Yeah.
Oh, God. I do a place in Schaumburg called Zeal all the time. Moretti's in Edison Park we do all the time. Check out all the local casinos in town, the Grand Vic, the Hollywood, the Blue Chip. We'll be there for Memorial Day weekend. I'll be in Natchez, Mississippi at the Magolian Bluff Casino at the end of May. And the Rat Pack will be playing at Al's and Cicero for Mother's Day. So we're excited about that.
So are you at any of the Olive Gardens?
We don't do the Olive Gardens, no.
It's an Italian restaurant.
I know,
how
but
in the
that's
world-
Frank Sinatra up there getting pissed off. Anyway, no, we don't. We do not the Olive Garden. We do authentic Italian restaurants.
I see.
There you go.
Are you an authentic Italian?
Yeah, I can speak it, read it, write it.
Northern, Southern?
Northern. I'm a proud Toscano.
Oh, I'm Sicilian, so I don't know if I can talk to you.
Okay, well, you're on one side of the room and I'm on the other. Yes, it's okay.
Yeah, well, that's okay.
That's all right.
All right, so one last time, 25th anniversary show for Tony Ocean, and that's going to be when?
Saturday, May 20th at the Club Arcada, downtown St. Charles, right above the Arcada Theater, Speakeasy. 6:30, get there for dinner. 8:30 is the show. Clubarcada.com. Get your tickets. Hope to see everybody.
Well, Tony, Mo, whoever you are today, we'll
Thanks,
we'll
Tony.
see you then.
Thanks Sharky.
Thanks.